Hello, everybody. Welcome in, guys. Welcome to the stream. Today we're talking about ESO patch notes for week 2. So we've got patch notes. We've also got some week 1 and 2 summaries for us. So this is point 2, 11.3.2 that we're taking a look at today. We also have point 1 here, which I didn't actually look at. Usually, the intervening stuff doesn't have a whole lot of notes. We could look briefly through it. Maybe we'll do that real quick. As always, let me know, guys, if you have any questions, anything you want to chat about with this. Yeah, I've been thinking about this a little bit more, what's coming out and how they're doing this and what have you. And as someone has pointed out to me, I don't think the idea behind what they're doing is intrinsically flawed, and I think some of it sounds great. I just, unfortunately, the devil lies in the details and all the execution here. So let's just take a look. How long is this? Is this a lot? That's a decent. That's not too much. Not too much. All right, night market. Please note the night market will be going live January 20th from when PTS Week 2 goes live. Will also remain playable on the PTS. Yeah, okay. I guess they're giving people info that don't know about it. That's good to know. And cool. The night market, a valuable trade hub for all manner of goods, both worldly and Daedric, is in constant flux as different patrons vie for control of its resources. There's a power vacuum currently within the night market, as the former leader has discovered. Did they not tell us all this stuff before? Has disappeared, and the rival patrons have laid claim to the mantle of leadership. These claims hold little sway, as malevolent forces have pushed their way into the market, and districts have fallen. Mortals are normally shunned from this area of Fargrave, but the patrons have opened the pathway to hopefully entice their aid to becoming the ruler of the market. All right. Yeah, is this all? What about point 0? Did they not put all this in point 0? I'm gonna have to just look real quick, guys. Huh. I guess not. Oh yeah, no, they did. Okay. Let me see. Event zone. Yeah, I don't. Did they reprint all of this? I don't want to go back through all the stuff we've already seen. All right, we're skipping a point 2 because I don't want to have to parse through what is different there. We can dip back and take a look at the summary, which is a feedback summary from us for the most part. All right, so let's take a look. Welcome to the Elder Scrolls Online PTS 11.3.2. This week, you'll have a chance to try out Tamriel Tome. As a reminder, the tome available on PTS is for the functioning testing purposes and bug fixing. It is not a full representation of the tome that will go live when session 0 starts. The tome will be available for testing on January 27th. Season 0, sorry, it's a session. It's so funny that they're starting with season 0. This is a very coder thing to do, and it's just funny that has come through. What is season 0? What is a season 0? I don't know. It's fine. Cool. It'll be available for testing starting tomorrow. And, some major updates too. Yeah, okay, here, they're going to go over it. This update also includes several fixes and changes to the night market testing on PTS. Most notably, we heard your feedback on testing some of the gilded, aka 4-player, and opulent ordeal instance content being difficult due to having to acquire the keys beforehand. It wasn't the keys that is the problem, but I'm glad they heard the feedback. Specifically for PTS, these instances no longer require keys to enter. This should make it easier to test this content. In addition to this, the night market has also seen multiple fixes and adjustments to provide a better overall experience while maintaining its challenge. Now, I was told that they're also going to make the whatever collectible you have to have, the 10 fragments or 8 fragments or whatever. I think 10 you have to get, or 9 across the various zones. I don't see that here, so I'm a little bit concerned, but hopefully that is also something, because it's not just the keys, it's the having to grind out fragments on PTS. I don't know. I have it on. I've been told that they've gotten that feedback and they were going to change both of those things, but we don't see it here unless it was mentioned somewhere else. We'll have to test it out tomorrow when it goes live. If we can get into the trial, I will be testing it out, and we might jump into the four-player content as well and see what it's like. I've been told to measure my expectations, so we'll just have to see. Let me see here. We also have listed an adjustment to Dragonite available below for review. You should have seen our write-up from last on what to expect for addressing the DK's power level, and we have specific numbers and dev comments for your viewing. If you did miss the general write-up, we have the link here. Let's just make sure that, yeah, this is from the week 1 summary. Okay. We'll jump back and take a look at that. Also available for PTS testing this week is the Anniversary Jubilee. You'll see the continuing testing in our shift from events to trade bars. We also want to provide an update on PTS testing weeks, starting with this PTS and moving forward. We are reducing the PTS week from 5 weeks to 4 weeks, now that console updates will be releasing on the same time as PC and Mac. We need to factor in the time console builds need to go through the certification process. To have enough time for certification to happen, we do need to reduce PTS by 1 week. That means next week, PTS 4 will be the last week of PTS update until U50 PTS. Wow, okay, that's different. We have communicated this sooner. We should have communicated this sooner and missed the mark there between all the items we have been sharing over the last few weeks. We are working to resolve that communication pipeline internally to make sure you're getting important information like this as soon as possible. I mean, I appreciate the my bad here. That's definitely a positive sign and continues to lead to, like, hey, they are listening a little bit more. Lastly, EU players, your character copies are now available on PTS. Oh, that sucks. Yeah. Never mind, I'm not going to be doing it on PTS because I don't want to have to go through and deal with... I don't think I have a level 50 character on PTS, and making characters takes an hour at least, and that's an hour of my time. My life I'll never get back, so probably never mind on that. Probably won't do it. So we'll just have to see, what the EU players think of the new 12-man content, I think. What else we got? Yeah, so EU character copies for this week, which means that if you have a character on NA, like, that's gone. Night Market, Relic Splinters, and Way Shrine navigation charts are now available in the PTS characters. Relic Splinters can be found in a new container called Night Market Relic Splinters. Are these Relic Splinters a different? There's so many different kinds. They said they were making things simpler, and then they're introducing all these weird kinds of currency, and then we got the splinters of the relics, and then there's also is that the eggs? Is that the 3 different? Are those relic splinters? I'm not sure. Wayshrine navigation charts can be found in a new container called the Night Market Consumables, as well as in the general consumables containers. I don't even know what these Wayshrine navigation charts are. I didn't see this. I didn't experience this in the first go through. Interesting. Tamriel Tomes, U49 PTS specific Tamriel Tome will go live at this date. Is this from the past? No, this is from right. Okay, update 49 Tamriel Tome. It's not fully representative of the session 0 Tune of Dawn and Dusk that goes live on 4/2/26. The goal for PTS is to test functionality and address any bugs present in Tome functionality. Okay, Tome functionality rather. All players who log in will be granted ownership of the U49 PTS Tamriel Tome, including the unique Raynor's Traveling Robes costume, as if they have purchased a Premium Plus bonus Tomb upgrade. Since we do not support real money purchases on PTS, the upgrade Tomb screen will be unavailable. You will provide more information on how you can purchase a Tamriel Tome and use Premium Tome tokens. For fuck's sake. Oh my god. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. I just get tired of all this, fake currency trying to trick people stuff. It's a little frustrating. The following are detailed notes we share on the PTS 1 patch notes. We want to share them again as a refresher. Tamriel Tomes are a new way for players to earn a wide array of rewards for engaging directly with ESO's content and systems. Yeah, this is the part where we made things simpler, and then they actually made things incredibly more complicated. Mountain Survival says, it is likely they asked AI for ideas on engaging players using certain criteria. They didn't understand the assignment fully. Oh, man. What was it? There was one of the developers, one of the owners, I think, part owners, and he retired, I guess, from Path of Exile, or whatever. I don't know. I think he said he retired. He's making YouTube content now. Um, when he was like, I remember he was talking about this, and yeah. Anyways, never mind. Don't want to get too off topic, but it is kind of funny. It's just like, yeah, all the different currency and the hoops you got to jump through and whatever. Our goal with the Tamriel Tomes is to introduce a battle pass like system that makes ESO consistently more rewarding to play for everyone. Yeah, so what they're trying to do is increase the retention numbers, right? That's the corpro speak here. I'm just translating for you guys. They're trying to increase their retention numbers and their play hours. And so how they're doing that is again participation trophies, which is a very common thing to do with battle passes. I don't care one way or the other really. Like I don't have strong feelings about it. Um, as a general concept, I just don't care. Generally, it can be very anti-consumer, and the idea we've talked about this before, and it's just going to keep it forever coming up with this kind of online stuff. It continues to be this thing where it's like if they do it well, nobody cares and it's great. If they don't do it well, and they lean too heavy into the monetization, it just feels like pay to win BS, and so it can be very frustrating to go back and forth and what have you. Um, it's not made for our enjoyment, in except that they want us to play more hours, and so that's really the only way. The other thing about this is like when we talk about in-game rewards, I think what most players actually want is the opportunity to go earn a reward in game and not just be like, "Oh, you kind of did some stuff, so here's your reward for getting that." I mean, I know some people will like it. Maybe most people like it, and it's just me that doesn't. But I think what people really really enjoy is like, "Hey, I did this hard thing and I got a reward for it." And that is what they more appreciate typically. But I know that there will be plenty of people that are very happy with this kind of system, and if the majority of people are happy, more power to them. Hey, what's up, Chris? Chris says scrying is demoralizing. Lord Swole, grindy, so grinding, dude. Yeah. Are you? Is this so, Chris? Do you know the tricks, man? So you only want to do it on one character. That's really important. And then you just want to go to a new zone, scribe until you get that one unique, what is it, orange or whatever, like the mythic or whatever. And then once you've got that, go to the next zone because that'll give you the most XP. You won't have to go through all of the zones. It'll be, I think, it used to be a little bit more than half. It might be closer to half now. And that's the easiest way to grind it up. And then you can collect scrying stuff as long as you have it unlocked on your other characters, or maybe you can just do it period now. I don't remember. Because I have it unlocked on all my characters, so it doesn't really matter. But you don't have to level it up. You could just have that one character scry it up. So probably make sure it's not a tank or a healer, right? Make sure it's a DPS so it's easy to run around overland and kill stuff with a couple of light attacks. Hey, Big Honey. Hey, Guppy. Hey, how's it going? Some more pay to win BS. Big Honey Drip says, yeah. I mean that is the direction they're going. I mean with the yeah, it is the direction they're going overall. We could parse, we could discuss, what's pay to win, what's not pay to win, and what have you. Yeah, yeah. 10-4. Okay, cool. On main tune. Oh, a tank. I mean, it can be fine, as long as you got. Yeah. Guppy, we're just looking over the patch notes. Guppy just said, "What's up?" Not me, Max, crying on my tank. Oh no. Okay. I mean, I know you do it on your main, right? You do it on your main. As long as it's not that big of a deal. I mean, right? Because you can still hop on a tank and kill stuff with a couple of hits. It's not a big deal. Or when I was doing that a lot, I had a kind of DPS built for my tank too. So, for overland DPS, it wasn't like real DPS, but it made things where they weren't painfully, slow to kill. I installed it last night because I'm down and got into my character screen and got 72-hour ban. Never even made it in game. Super bummed. What? Why did they give you a ban? Hey, what's up, Frog? What's going on? Frog, I appreciate your comments the other day, and everybody too. I read all of them. The longer they are, the longer it takes me to respond, and sometimes I miss some stuff. Google does a really bad job. I try to hunt for them so that I see all of them, but sometimes it doesn't show all comments. But Frog, I appreciate your. We kind of disagreed on something. It wasn't that big a deal, but I appreciate your takes. I just wanted to let you know that. I try to keep stuff concise, but some topics are complex. Oh no, you're good. I'm just no. Some people, it looks like 3 or 4 paragraphs, which is cool. I love it. It happens more with a tabletop gamers where we have like I love it. I mean, I think it's great. Please don't apologize. I love it. It's just that if it's a quick comment, I'll just be like in passing and I can read and respond. Sometimes when I get 4 paragraphs, which is much better than one gigantic paragraph, I will tell you, it just takes me longer to respond. So yeah, because I try to respond in kind. Anyways, let's keep on topic. Okay, this PTS tome will have several differences from what you will see in April. Also, guys, just as a random thing too, in addition to talking just about the PTS today, I'm curious to jump back and I would like to revisit some of what ESO has talked about. I don't know if we'll have time today, but I would like to jump back and revisit some of what we're promised and kind of and like how it was kind of sold and check my own take on it too. So I also might want to refresh my memory on what I said. And see where we're at, because I think some things it feels a little incongruous. It's not that big a deal, but I just want to kind of figure out what we can expect from the future and judge like, hey, were we right? Was I right in the past? Were those takes right? Where were things going? And it's always good to test those kind of things. Mountain Survival says, yep, logged in and it kicked me back to connection issue box. Then said login restricted. Contact customer service, and it was a 72-hour ban for conversation in the area with evidence is blank. What? So they had some weird AI thing or something that like decided you were doing something wrong? I don't know. Almost level 4 scrying, need that Oakensole. Oh man. Yeah, dude, Oakensole's not as good as it used to be. But I really like Payloader. I think Payloader is the way to go for solo stuff. But yeah, is that ban bug only affecting PTS, or does it also apply to live? Because if so, I'm out on PTS. Yeah, the PTS tome. Okay, so it has several differences from what you will see April. Some of the difference may include rewards or replacement rewards, as well as final values for the pages, challenges, and tome points. As a reminder, the PTS tome is for functionality testing. Okay. Not give a full representation of the reward track. Yeah, they never like to tell us rewards until they go live because they don't like the press beforehand, and they know that we'll complain about stuff and they'll have to change it. They never want to tell us, and it never feels good when they don't want to tell us what the rewards are actually going to be. It usually because it's not good. Payloader is awesome in 12-man groups. Yeah. That's sarcasm for anybody not picking up on that from Guppy. Yeah, I mean, Payloader is good in 12-man groups. You really don't need you don't need Oakensole anymore. They nerfed it enough that you just get those buffs from other sources. Yeah. Had it have been. Oh, okay. You haven't had it before, so you're just getting it to. Sorry, I'm not quite following there. Kind of want to try Crypt Cannon Ult share build. Okay, we will see. Crypt Cannon's a hassle to get to, man. Crypt Cannon's rough, but Oakensole shouldn't be too bad, from what I recall. The Tamriel Tome will be a center part of seasons, offering both rewards themed around the season and activities to complete. We want to make sure everyone can participate in it, whether you're interested in questing, trials, PvP, crafting, or other playstyles. Okay. So the Tamriel Tome is the new reward thing. Is this the new replacement for our daily logins? That's kind of the impression I'm getting. I mean, I've read through all this stuff before, so I guess it said it somewhere explicitly, and I just missed it or don't remember. I don't know. The new Tamriel Tome will launch with every. Okay, yeah, a new Tamriel Tome will launch with every season, with each tome lasting the full duration of the season. Everyone will have access to the free side of the Tamriel Tome, which offers rewards such as new cosmetic seals, trade bars, and gameplay items. A paid upgrade to the premium version will also be available, offering additional cosmetics and rewards. The tome will change with each new season. However, if you decide to purchase the premium Tamriel tome, then it's yours to keep forever. You can come back to it and continue to progress at any time. Okay, trade bars are a new currency primarily earned from engaging with the Tamriel tome. This new currency replaces event tickets and will never be sold for crowns. In addition, you can earn trade bars from in-game events and vengeance campaigns. Okay. You'll progress the Tamriel Tome through a new challenge system that features weekly challenges and seasonal challenges. As you complete challenges, you'll earn tome points. Earned tome points will unlock further pages in the Tamriel Tome, and you can use tome points and on unlocked pages to obtain rewards. I wish they would read this stuff out loud to themselves and realize how silly it sounds. You'll have access to 5 weekly challenges refreshing every week. These challenges will provide a variety of activities to engage in. And if you don't like some of your weekly challenges or are trying to sync your activities with a friend, you'll have the ability to re-roll them. And don't worry if you're not able to play every day. Weekly challenges will accumulate up to 12 at once, letting you take breaks and pick it back up when you're ready. Yeah, again, they this is the stuff that they've sold to us. It's like, we're doing this for you, and it's like, I just wish they wouldn't lie to us, just you tell us because you're doing it because it's an industry best practice, and it's fine. Just don't lie to me. You know what I mean? Like, just tell me the real reason. Because that is the real reason, right? They're just trying to bring everything up to industry best practices. Seasonal challenges will offer more specific and larger activities and will often be highly thematic to the current season's activities and events. And I think with this, what they're saying is like the average person doesn't have time to log in as much as they would like, or they only log in to get the reward and literally that's it. They hit log in, they get the reward, they log back out because it's a 30-day thing and they want to make sure that they get their thing. But then other people realize, like, if you're not able to, then you might skip it, right? You might just say, well, I'm not going to get the rewards for this month. I'll just wait for next month. And then next month comes around and you go, you know what? It's been kind of nice having that extra free time and not having to do game chores. Maybe I just won't log in anymore. Also, I find that I don't really care about the in-game rewards because I have found other things to do with my time that is more engaging and more fun. And they don't want people to do that. That's the reason for this change. None of this has anything to do with how players are actually going to feel. Like they've shown for long enough that they don't care how we feel. It's just like, don't lie to me, It would feel like so much better and so much more of an honest relationship. Yeah. We will see. Determination. Yeah. Frog says, I'm not liking this trend of them introducing mythics where you nullify your ulti usage. Yeah, and I mean, they kind of basically have a 5-piece set and a mythic that do the same thing too, because they nerf the hell out of it and stuff like that. All right, man, we'll catch you later, Chris. Thanks for dropping in, man. Game rewards are a scam, Guppy says. I agree, Guppy. I agree. And like another thing with that, with them giving rewards and stuff like that, if a game is really fun, rewards are cool. Rewards aren't bad on their face, right? But if a game is really fun, you'll just play because the game is really fun. And having a incentive to log in every day as opposed to wanting to log in every day because it's fun and enjoyable, right? Which one of those do you want? I would rather want to log in every day because it's fun and enjoyable. And so clearly they're spending a great deal of time trying to think of ways to kind of trick people into logging in. And I think that is counterintuitive to and is counter to the concept, and it takes away resources, time and energy from making something that's just fun and engaging. And there are plenty of games like that. I could mention several, just off the top of my head, where I play Civilization, right? Civilization series. I don't log in to play Civ because I am getting rewards, right? And I think they tried to introduce some BS like that a while back, and maybe I think it was to try to give people like an excuse to it was more like themed content or whatever. I was vaguely interested in the themed content, like basically having like a scenario that you're having to play through, but I still never engaged with it because it just, I don't, and there was reasons. It was a little bit of like competition thing. It was a little bit less, I think, pure like it wasn't the same as this, but just make a game fun and people will want to play it. That's all there is to it, and you'll make money. Anything else is a way of trying to get people to play more that has nothing to do with making a fun and enjoyable game, and I think that detracts. Frog says getting the downfall of Neverwinter was currency vibes. Yeah. Yeah, I really only dabble in the game a bit to fund my heroism, heroism potion addiction. Yeah. Guppy says the first big scam were when the crates were introduced. Yeah. I used to log in every day for hours. This was my all-time favorite game. Now it's like I'm getting robbed, and it's still not fun anymore. Honestly, heartbreaking. Hey, Guppy, this is kind of a side note, and then for everybody else, I just want to say on the because for everybody who's commented on some of my more serious videos and what have you, even the people that have disagreed, I just want to say I appreciate you guys, and I'm glad that you're still around so that we can disagree on stuff and still have conversations. Off topic, I'll get back on topic, but I just wanted to say that. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that we're kind of seeing the slow decline in everything. Yeah. Finally, did we read this? Yeah. Yeah, this is hilarious. Finally, we were designing the Tamriel Tome. One of our main goals was to simplify some reward systems that had grown fragmented. To this end, we're removing the endeavors and daily login reward systems from Update 49, and you can expect to see many of these rewards, such as seals and consumable items, on the free side of the tome. Both of these systems make less sense in our new season's world. We don't want completing endeavors and claiming logins all on top of completing the battle pass to feel like a list of chores. I mean, it is a list of chores, right? Like, it's funny that they're saying the quiet part out loud. It literally is just a list of chores. Hey, Nani, what's going on? I appreciate it, Frog. Yeah. I mean, they're just saying the quiet part out loud. I will also note that, when they talk about the currencies, right, with the Seals of Endeavor, and it sounds like they're changing this to bars or some shit. I don't know. When they're talking about that stuff, Seals of Endeavors and whatever the new currency is going to be, whatever the Seals of Endeavors are, the entire point of that was to avoid regulation for having gambling in their game, and to be able to point and say, see, there's a way you can earn all these rewards in game. It's not gambling, that gets you all this stuff. And they did that because the EU was really against it, and to a lesser extent, the U.S. I mean, U.S. consumers are very against it, but the companies and in the way because of corruption and capitalism in the U.S., a lot of these companies, they lobby politicians to keep this stuff in the games, and so it's a little bit less. You have a little bit less of that corruption in the EU, and so they have a lot better when it comes to consumer practices, and we can see that on multiple fronts. And so they have a lot less anti-consumer business practices in the EU. It's far from perfect still, but they have a lot less. It's a lot harder for them. So, but yeah, that's why they have these free currencies and stuff like that. So, we can learn more in the article. Maybe we can check that out. All right, Anniversary and Jubilee. Anniversary and Jubilee continues. The changes made in Jester's Festival and the the rest of Update 49 as it relates to rewards, events, tickets / trade bars, and other sundry details. You'll receive your 300 trade bars each day from the new Jubilee cake, as you would have received tickets from eating the cake previously. So we went from like 10 tickets to 300 trade bars. This is the fact that there's so many that we went from getting 2 tickets a day to 300 trade bars is like a huge red flag for me. This is the kind of psychological manipulation techniques this is a big red flag that this isn't going to be great. We'll have to see. Frog says it's actually worse than chores. They're trying to train us to play more through psychological manipulation instead of just making a fun experience. Seems to be industry paradigm at the moment. Yeah. And I mean, and the reason they do that is because A, it works, and B, they see the money, right? Like, they see mobile games, and it's really funny because if just a little bit of game industry info for you guys, mobile games make so much more money, so much more money. That's why there was like the Blizzard doing like, was it Diablo Immortal, right? I think was the handheld version. I didn't play these. I don't play these games, so forgive me if I'm wrong on the name. Correct me, please, if I'm wrong. Um, but they want to make mobile versions, and the reason they do that is because Candy Crush makes a fuck ton of money, right? Like these various games make a lot of money, and people will spend a lot of money, and it's a much bigger audience. So those of us who are PC gamers, those of us who are Xbox or PlayStation gamers, we are, the number of people that will play a game on their phone is much greater, like multiple times greater, depending on what you're talking about. And so when a company, right, these large companies are really just about making money. That's the entire reason that they exist. And that's the entire reason they exist, right? It's just to make money, and they'll get bought. I see this in tabletop games too. Like I know a creator who his company sold, and I think he was part owner, or he was at least a game designer, and he sold to like a some uh, general. I don't know exactly what they do as a company or whatever, but basically just a hedge fund. And they just destroyed everything, right? Everything that he had built up, and they look at this stuff from a financial perspective, and it is generally considered to be, it is better to be in a growing industry, will matter a lot of times more so, or a very profitable industry, more so than a niche industry, right? Like that's the only thing that matters. And so you could be at an average company in a growth market. So let's say in this case, like if you look at, or very profitable ones too, you could be an average company that makes mobile games, and you'll probably make more than a good company that makes more niche games. And MMOs, even though they're like one of the bigger genres, are more niche games than a mobile game typically. So they look at this stuff, and that's why they'll push companies like, why are you guys making MMOs? Why are you guys making this other type of game? You could just make a mobile game and make more money. And they don't. These are guys that don't understand anything about the industry or whatever, and so they'll push them. And then when they look at how much money this MMO is making, and then they compare it to what they could be, it's the opportunity cost, right? And this is basic like finance. If you take like corporate accounting or corporate management classes at university or anything like that, you will look at this stuff, and they'll talk about it, and it's like, okay, here's two things you could do with your money. Okay, you got $100,000, whatever, you got $1 million, whatever it is. You can go into this. Maybe you make concrete, right? And you can look at it and you go, well, we can spend this on upgrading and getting more throughput at our factory so that we can make more concrete. Alternatively, we could look at, I'm trying to think, alternatively, we can invest that money to make a new concrete product. And maybe this is a consumer-based product. You know what? We can make little concrete gnomes, garden gnomes. Garden gnomes are blowing up right now, right? They don't go, what makes more sense? Aren't we a concrete company? No, they go, which one of these is going to make us more money? Let's do that one. Generally speaking, that's how financial decisions will be made. Now, certain companies and small businesses have been shown to not be profit maximizing, but that is not a AAA owned company that's owned by Microsoft or any number of much smaller companies, but they're going to make decisions based on money. And so then they also have to compare, right? So if you're like, oh, you've got this MMO, well, you could never have enough money, right? You can never make enough money, and so they're constantly being pressed. We've seen with gnomes are creepy. Frog says mobile games make massive money. Yeah, particularly because there are far fewer constraints on their ethical practices. Yeah. I mean, and exactly. Many other things, and all of this stuff is again being taught for game developers as well. Like if you go to school for this, and it's rightfully so, right? Like you need to know how to make money. You can't just make a good game, but you also have to make a profitable game. So it is kind of understandable, but you know, when you look at companies like Arrowhead, when you look at companies like Larian, I often use these two because they're two of the best. You can see that companies that are independent can make a successful game that has a broad appeal, and they can make enough money to make their next game. And you know, the folks at Larian and of these other companies have said that, you know, like even if our next game is a flop, we made enough money and we're careful enough with our money that we'll still be able to keep making games. We're not suddenly going to go under, which is great because you don't want to put all those people out of work. And you know, that's just what you need to continue to see. And with, you know, with Elder Scrolls and with ZOS and ZeniMax Online and you know, parent companies and what have you, we also see them outsourcing, right? Like the remaster of Oblivion wasn't done. It was done in a place where there's cheaper labor than the US, and so you'll also see that kind of stuff. They make more money in abstract financial schemes than making real products. Game industry is no exception. Yeah, it's you know, it's comparable to like going to a department store and them trying to get you to get their credit card, right? Or any store that does this, because they know they can make more money on using that credit card than like, and it's just an extra way. And it's like, why is Macy's getting into the credit card industry, right? Like, you know. Yeah, Frog says, yeah, I talked to a recent engineering graduate, and planned obsolescence is a required course now. Sad times. Jesus, dude. Oh my God, that's disheartening. I would like to know what university that's at, and like, what are they teaching, man? I would like to know more. I'm pressing the Starship Troopers. I would like to know more button. Cool. All right, the new cake is available from Apprentice Mog's introductory quest. That was a tricky word. And once acquired, you can purchase the associated furnishing version from the Impresario. The Impresario also has a new cake slice with an associated achievement for acquiring it. All right, cool. As well as the first fragment of the Thorn's Bite Witherstead combining collectible. Breaking up a collectible into like 12 pieces. Yeah. As the Jester Festival, the Glorious Anniversary Jubilee box has a chance to give you the second fragment of the Thorn's Bite Witherseed before it becomes available for purchase in Zeal of Zenithar. The new outfit for this year's Jubilee is the Dapper Daredevil style, whose pages can come from any Jubilee box. The Impresario will sell bound versions of these style pages as well if you have a surplus and don't want to chase the drops. We've also chopped up the bag of Jubilee yesteryear. It will no longer be available for purchase from the Impresario. All contents of the bags are split between the Impresario and her assistants as direct purchases. We'll be doing this on other grab bags as well in the future. Okay. Lastly, a new replica style is available from Blackwood Deadlands in the Atoll of Immolation, and replica Nak-Zvoraz Greatsword style, whatever that is. This bound style can drop from any of the Atoll of Immolation final reward chests, and drop chances increases if you have the Deadlands, Portal, Devastation, or Hero Fragment achievements. You know, they have hidden mechanics in here where you need, if you have some achievement, you'll get better drops. It's actually nice to see them telling people about these. I don't know why they didn't in the past, and why the game doesn't tell you, but you know, it's good to know. Why Deadlands and not Blackwood? Deadlands is where Nak-Vraz primarily features. Okay. As always, the in-game help entries have the most salient details of the event itself. Let us know if anything there is unclear or not what you observe. Cool. All right. So we've got some notes here about combat and gameplay finally. We got fixed an issue where many Dragonite abilities were moved around to different skill lines, were not properly leveling up at their expected rates. It's wild that people were leveling them up relative to their new positions in their respective skill line. Note this only applies to the base abilities, as morphs require the same XP to level regarding their position in a skill line, affecting the following: Searing Strike, Dragonfire Breath. Okay. basically, it sounds like they move these around. For those who don't know your skills, and this is another hidden mechanic. I hate hidden mechanics in games. I don't think they should exist. Another hidden mechanic is that your top skill levels requires less XP to level up in a morph than does your bottom one. Typically, once you hit the morph, everything slows down greatly. But that's how it works, and it sounds like they move these around, and they changed the name on it, the skill, they changed how it worked or whatever, but they didn't change they just didn't change a variable for how much XP it should cost. Yeah, some morphs are grind to level. Yeah, the bottom of the skill line becomes pretty bad for sure. Class abilities: Dragonite, Ardent Flame, Lava Whip. This ability in the Flame Lash morph now generates 5 stacks of their empowered form for 20 seconds, rather than enabling the ability to cast the ability as many times as you can within 7.9 seconds, at most 7 casts. Increase the damage by 40% to account for less casts. Overall, this should make both versions of the ability much easier to use in a rotation, rather than feeling like you must choose between uptime of other abilities and the super sick flip kick. Okay, or flip whip. Okay, cool. I mean, that does, because like there's going to be an option that is better than one or the other, and very few people are going to probably know what that is. It'll be just the sweaty people that know that. So I like that change. It makes play more intuitive for players. Flame Lash, this morph now also grants 12% damage done to monsters for 30 seconds after activating if you were a Dragon Knight. In a future PTS update, this will be increased to 15% for 45 seconds, but only if all stacks are consumed. To help avoid turning it into a passive buff effect and more reward for using the ability at its maximum effect. I'm sorry. Yeah. Huh. Okay. Molten Whip. This morph now grants 5% damage done against monsters per stack, rather than 85 to 100 weapon and spell damage. This effect only activates if you are a Dragon Knight. Seething Fury no longer generates stacks if you have Engulfing Dragonfire slotted on either bar. Interesting. A 5% damage increase versus weapon and spell damage. Usually, currently, percent damage increases are usually better for those of us who do trials and other content, because you have a lot of maximum buffs and you have everything you can imagine. So, and then that would potentially be a wash or maybe even a nerf, depending on what kind of solo other content you're doing, because you don't have as many buffs. So I don't know exactly how this will wash out. Maybe somebody who's super into this stuff like Skinny Cheeks, I bet he'll have some thoughts on it. Exactly, if it's a few K less or more in different places. Rabbit says, one of my concerns with some of these categories is they might go too far in the direction of pure classes instead of hitting that sweet spot of balance, but we'll see. Yeah. I think overall they told us that they were reworking the classes, and it really seems like what they're actually doing is reworking all the visuals and then tweaking and then doing like much needed changes to the class skill lines, but nothing we've really seen here. I mean, they have moved entire skills around and changed stuff, but like I've mentioned before, if you're tanking as a DK, you're going to have the exact same skills. You just now have a couple of more flex spots and maybe use a different morph of a skill, but it like fits in the same spot on your bar. The same is nearly true for a healer, but DK healers obviously weren't a thing before. They added a couple of extra skills that now actually have some utility and actually be good to use. One skill line that's actually good for a healer to use, which is novel. That's new. And for DPS, they added a beam ability. It's not nearly as grandiose as we were being told, and I feel like a lot of the rework, I don't think they were trying to be deceptive or anything. I think they just, in their heads, it was, the reality and what they were planning. And I'm sure it was some marketing was different than what it came across, at least to me. Sorry, we should read this developer comment here. Spoiler. So we've got we're intentionally inflating some of the damage of the Dragonite class in the short term to help the class stand up to snuff with other current meta options. while we find more long-term solutions and continue to work on other class refreshers. Expect these values / effects to be adjusted over time. Yeah, they do this continually. I mean, this is something that is a pretty common practice. I so what to help the class stand up to snuff with other current meta options while we find more long-term solutions. Yeah, it feels to me as a player that they often overbuff things in order to get people to play it and to try it again. And the only problem is sometimes they just leave things. And I don't know. That's what it feels like why they do it. That's what it feels like whenever they do this. They'll often do that on PTS too. Like release something doing, 180K. And part of it is like it could just be incompetence, or it could just be that like they're just throwing numbers and they don't really care, and then they'll just see what the players do with it or whatever. But a lot of times it feels pretty intentional to draw attention to a class. Oh, did you hear about the new DK? It's doing 150K damage, with one button. And I mean 142K actually with two buttons, to give a realistic one. But something like that'll happen. Oh, someone's hitting a 250K parse or something. And it seems like they often do that as a way of drawing attention to it. And some of that stuff really feels intentional. And it's fine. I think the problem is a lot of players will never hear anything else. And they'll just be like, nah, and then they'll nerf it. And they'll be like, nah, I heard that DK was doing, 500K damage, it's whatever. Frog says, yeah, it's kind of hard to deny that pattern after all these years. Yeah. I mean, there are ways of, you need to be able to do this in games. It's a development, problem where you need people to try stuff, and you need people to, if you're like, hey, we made these changes, but nobody knows and nobody tries it. You don't want that. You just want them to do it responsibly. And I think none of us, who have been paying a lot of attention to what ZOS does, have a lot of confidence that they do things responsibly. So it's a little bit hard there. All right, Searing Strike increases the damage of this ability and its morphs, damage over time effects, by 50% per tick. All right. This takes these to the same strength as a normal 20-second dot, but over half the duration, making their overall DPS twice as strong rather than 50% stronger. This change was done to account for the loss of GCDs, global cooldowns activations, as the previous iterations resulted in a very minor damage gain, with perfect up times making the change feel more like a horizontal shift than a gain. Like that change. That's a good change. Yeah. Searing Claw, reduce the damage bonus per tick to 10%, down from 24%, to account for the base increase. This damage effect is now built into the base damage calculation rather than an additional damage taken modifier, which should make the increase more accurate and performant. Okay. Core Flame fixed an issue where this ability and its morphs were missing 50% bonus potential modifier to their damage to account for their delays. All right. Soul of Flame fixed an issue where the stamina restore of this morph was incorrectly based off your missing magicka. Oh, okay. Interesting. And then Draconic Power here. Frog says, I will say it seems they are doing a good job at the improvements in general. They seem more competent than past ones. Yeah, I would agree. Frog. Yeah, and I've been trying, so I don't want to be needlessly effusive, but I have been trying to definitely give credit where credit is due. So I appreciate you bringing that up and making that point. Yeah. Overall, things do seem to be changing. I do feel like we were a little bit oversold on the reworks of the class. It seems a lot of it is cosmetic, which is fine. It's great. Like I enjoy. I want a game to look good. And light attack weaving looks kind of ridiculous and has for a long time. So I like the changes overall. All right, Draconic Power, Dragon Breath increased the damage per tick of this ability, and the Disintegrating Dragon Fire morphs damage over time effect by 50% per tick. Disintegrating Dragon Fire fixed an issue where the major breach from this morph was not extended by Elfbane. Okay. Increase the damage per tick of this ability and the disintegrating Dragonfire's morph damage over time by 50% per tick. I like. Did they literally did they buff the breath? Like both morphs? Is the dragon Dragonfire breath like this can't be right, right? I have to be misunderstanding something. Increase the damage per tick of this ability and disintegrate more. So not the other morph. So not the channeled morph. That must be it. Part of the breath's performance on PTS was a bug though, right? Was it? What part? What part was bugging? There was an issue where it was like you could double stack something. I don't remember what it was. But it sounds like they're not buffing the channeled version. They're buffing the base morph, I think. And then one of the morphs to hit harder. If I recall, if you cast it twice quickly, it casts all damage in the first tick. Yeah. Okay. No, I think you could get some really high parses, but I think the 142k parse was like legit. I think there was a way to bug it out where you could get really high, but I think Daedric's 142k was like legit. Is my, unless I say that you could accidentally proc it too. I guess we'll have to see. Yeah, the 140k to 150k ones were legit. Yeah, Hyper got the same results. Okay. Yeah, and then there were people getting crazy numbers. That happens every patch. Just for those who don't know, guys, there's always some issue or whatever. So there's always going to be like, oh, they parsed like 250k now, and it's like, yeah, that was a bug. They were, it's fine, but don't fall for the don't fall for it. Draconic Leap. So this is also one of the things that paired really well with the Dragon's Breath. The ultimate and its morphs now determine what type of CC will play based on the type of enemy they hit. Players are knocked back 4 meters and stunned for 2 seconds, while monsters are knocked into the air and stunned for 3 seconds. This change was done based on the discussions we saw come up where much of the powerful feeling and benefits of knocking enemies away is lost in the context of PvE. All right. Yeah, and I think it was working weird, or maybe it was just that people were not expecting the changes to function. I had several people mention about how they didn't like or they thought it was odd what was going on with Draconic Leap, or Dragon Leap, I'm sorry. Earth and Heart, we got Magma Armor. Corrosive Armor reduces the damage limit to 12% of your max health rather than 8% to better account for the raw offensive power this ultimate provides. The damage over time effect now only targets monsters rather than enemy to offer healthier PvP balance. Okay. We're better differentiating some of the buffs made to this ultimate from PTS Week 1 in efforts to help still reach our goal of making the ability more effective in PvE while toning down how much impact it brings to PvP by reducing the defensive capabilities further and removing the high damage over time. Yeah, I mean, it's nice to see some of these changes. I mean, some of these skills were pretty broken for a pretty long time, and it's nice to see them finally making these changes to make PvP healthier. It's nice to see it. It is frustrating that they took so long, but it is nice to see it. Molten Weapons, Molten Armaments. Reduce the cooldown of the damage of this morph to 1.5 seconds to help it function better with heavy attack builds that are quicker than 2 seconds. Okay. Then 2 seconds completion times to have better pairing with the Empower this morph grants. Okay, yeah, I mean, this is, what's the current, I don't remember what the current duration on the Empower buff is. Is it the full length? This is an ability that historically could be really amazing. If you guys don't know, I've never made a DK heavy attack build, and Molten Armaments giving him power was a really cool thing. And similar to a Solar Barrage from Templars, giving Empower as well. I think it's Solar Barrage. It might be the other morph, but I think it's Solar Barrage. And it makes it really cool because then you don't need Empower sources and you don't need to run Oaken Soul Ring for a heavy attack build. And you can actually do more damage. And especially now with Rakat's Void Mantle, you could get these buffs and you don't have the awkward situation of having to use a Mage's Skill ability, which grants the buff for 10 seconds when most of the dots are for 20 seconds. So it's really awkward to have to keep casting it. You can't really look at your timers. And this is a real problem for people in content using heavy attack builds, for those who don't know, because again, you want a simpler build and rotation for a heavy attack build because that's the entire point of it. And DK's, unfortunately, with all of their historical buffs, maybe I could try it out now to see if anything has changed, but historically they really underperform, like 10 to 15k underperform significantly, right? Like enough that it's like, oh, you can get 65k, maybe 70k, and I say that as like consistent numbers. A lot of times on heavy attack builds, people like would crit farm. This is like historically. This is before Void Mantle, guys. Void Mantle. Rakat's Void Mantle buffed everybody's damage by a lot. But a lot of times people will like crit farm on heavy attack builds, so they get it. The people used to be like, oh, I can get 100k with the exact same build that you're using, or they'll be like, I changed this one CP that doesn't change the damage at all, and I can get 100k, and I'm like, I consistently get 90k. Maybe if you crit farmed for 5 hours, you can get 100k. Cool. I'm not doing that. Never going to want to do that. But you would have builds. So I'm referring to like non-crit farmed, numbers from back in the day, but it would be like 10 to, I would even say sometimes up to 20k difference. And normally Sork was like 5k above everybody else, but 5k is doable, right? If you got a Templar, you want to do a heavy attack build, you also have a source of Empower from your class skill line, that can work out really well. And but DKs have just never been good. And so I guess with all the changes, it might be something worth going and taking a look at again. But hopefully, yeah, and also with Rakat's Void Mantle, maybe that difference is not as big of a deal anymore. I don't know. Frog says, don't remember either 30 seconds or 60 seconds, I think. Yeah, but that's one issue with parsing is sample size is proportional to finger soreness. Yeah, 100%. And it's, it's always been one of those things. And it's like, I'm just not going to give myself carpal tunnel from like trying to, do 50,000 parses or try to be perfect or whatever. Probably I would get mods that would do it for me, like some people do, before I do anything like that. And I also don't want to do that. So it's like, yeah, whatever. get a light attack weave add-on, that like light attacks for you. That would be probably the move, but I'm not really interested in it, honestly. All right, Blessing at the Peak. This passive now triggers off casting or dealing damage with Earth and Heart abilities instead of only casting. This passive now grants 5 to 10% critical damage. Visual and audio, corrosive armor. Okay, cool. Fix an issue with AoE FX of corrosive armor jittering when it was cast. Cool Dark Talons. Fix some first-person visual issues. Holy shit! Someone picked up a first-person visual issue. That's wild. Okay, Dragon. I know there's people that play in first persons, but it's not me. Nani says, I parse enough to keep up with my skill or to work out a new rotation. Yeah. I'm not trying to kill myself. And honestly, like I think the parsing in ESO is a bit much. I think the difference between like a perfect player and a really good player I think it's asked a little too much, to be honest. And I know that might upset some people, but that's generally sufficient. Yeah. I do most of my parsing after major patch changes. Yeah. And once you get it, it doesn't really go away. You do want to like refresh yourself. Like I'm not as good as I used to be, but it comes back. All right, updated Dragon Blood visuals to remove the heart above the caster's head and emphasize the cast animation with a heart FX burst. Yeah, I thought this was a bug, but that's funny. We discussed this at length, whether or not Dragon Blood was bugged or not. It's like, no, maybe they mean that. So when someone's healing, and it's like, it's kind of weird. So good to know that it was a bug. I'm glad to hear that. Dragonfire Breaths, fixing an issue with the visuals of engulfing fire persisting when the cast was canceled. Okay. Oh, yeah, I remember that one. That was happening. Yeah, Dragon Knight Standard, updated Dragon Knight Standard to have a more iconic activation and sound in line with the original version. Excellent. Great change. Earth Spike Mantle fixed an issue where the new spikes of Earth Spike Mantle were not properly animating. Fixed an issue where the spikes of Earth Spike Mantle were not properly playing. Audio issues, revisiting timing and the audio. Okay, that's good. Yeah, there's a few. I don't know if I really cast this that much to notice, but Magma Armor, updated Magma Armor to have more intensity and less gloominess in its sound palette. Okay. Molten Weapons, fixing an issue with some FX for Molten Weapons, would play incorrectly on polymorph characters. Yeah, this is actually a problem on live as well. You'll have, it's not even, it's fine. They don't need to fix it. It's fine. But you'll have certain weapons. You'll have an axe that is really, it looks like a sword. And whatever. That's just the style. But whenever you cast certain buffs that are for weapons, it'll do the buff in the shape of an axe, but it's a sword. And it looks kind of funny. It does this with Arcanist, is one of the things. What up, Daedric? Daedric says, I'm going to go solo the new trial. Have you tried it, man? What's the deal? I just realized that characters were EU now, and I was like, I'm probably never going to, I don't know if I'm going to go do that. I don't want to spend an hour making a new character to go do the new trial. I'm glad they unlocked it now, but Wing Buffet. I'm going to continue to call it Buffet just because since they made it a point to call it a buffet. Fixed an issue with the wings on Wing Buffet, and its Morse would not load incorrectly and were misaligned. Yeah, they weren't moving, and they were offset for the character and turned 90 degrees. They swapped to EU. RIP. Yeah, time to uninstall PTS. Yeah, they announced that they cut the week short. They're cutting PTS a week short. So I think it happened a week earlier, but I don't know. Maybe it was always like this. Weapon skills, two-handed, Berserker Strike, Onslaught. This morph now morphs 100% critical buff. Now only activates when Battle Spirit is active. All right. Similar to Corrosive Armor, removing some of the oppressive power of this ultimate that can provide in PvP, keeping it where our goals are aimed at. Okay. Item sets, PvP sets, Gore Thief, fix an issue where the set could proc off any damage instead of the stated direct damage. Cool. Fix zone improvements, Gilded 4-player and Opulent Ordeal instances. So that's the 4-player and 12-player instances. No longer require keys to enter this. They didn't say that they're giving, they still haven't said if we're getting the relics. Oh, wait, added the word relic to, oh, these are the relics. Okay. So when I was confused about relic earlier, it's because they didn't actually have relic in the title. So these are are these not the things? I thought Wind Slicer was, but there was an egg of some sort, so those can't be right. Those are different relics. All right, we'll just go. Skirmish event timers now function correctly, and the steps for each stage are now present for all participants. Okay. Sorry, just want to check on the stream real quick. Brazen Argent and Gilded bosses throughout 9 Market no longer have a chance to suffer elemental death, which makes their corpses more difficult to see and loot. Visual highlight outline of bosses more prevalent. Adjusted location of monsters within the night market. Jump pads that take you to an oasis are now visible on the map. Added the word relic. Add additional information to the listed quest steps. In the Intrepid Wanderer achievement, increase the visibility of floor arrow icons in the map UI to better enable you to switch between the views of different floors. Missing icons for night market's achievements have been added. They swapped. Oh, yeah, sorry, never mind. I read that. Sorry, I thought there was something new. Yeah, Daedric, have you been on the PTS, man? Have you walked into the trial at all? They said they gave us keys. I don't know if they actually gave us all of the achievements unlocked whenever you do a max level character. Because I had heard from more that they were going to remove all the changes so we could just go in, but it sounds like they're just removing the keys. So they still want us to grind up and do the whole thing. I guess we could load in and see. Added a new fragment recipe called the Tonic of Portent Favor. This recipe will give 100% faction favor bonus for all enemies and district events sources for 30 minutes. Let's actually just load it up. Oh, I didn't update. Well, we'll get it updating in the background, I suppose. And then we can keep going. It probably won't take very long. We'll keep an eye. Let me just throw this screen. I'll keep an eye on it here. You'll now be able to find one of 3 fragments depending on the faction on which you pledge your allegiance. Recipe Tonic of Portent Favor, Eyes Fragment. Okay, so there's a new recipe where you get fragments, and then you can use that to get more favor with your faction for 30 minutes. Seems like something just designed for playtime, not for player enjoyment. Hey, what's up, Sniper? What's going on, man? Nice, bull to 489. Excellent. Yeah, Zine, I feel you, man. This recipe will require 3 new ingredients in order to craft. Ah, so you also have to get the new ingredients as well? Okay. This recipe will be able to be consumed with active experience, scrolls, and drinks, alliance points, bonuses, and regular food and drink. Crafting this new tonic will increase the duration by the provisioning connoisseur passive, increased duration to 50 minutes. This will also increase the number of servings crafted. Okay. Fix an issue causing all faction, monster, mask, and style pages to appear on all night market faction vendors. Okay, dangerous encounters. Yeah, so I assume they're going to want us to, like, you're going to be able to grind up all 3 factions, right? Or maybe you can only do 1 and then you have to trade for the other stuff. But I have to imagine they'll make it where you have to grind up all 3 because more playtime equals more money. Dangerous encounters in the night market now have a chance to reward motifs, style items, recipes, furnishing found in other Daedric areas. Remove several unnecessary cooldowns, preventing bosses from having appreciate loot if killed too quickly together. Yeah, these cooldowns, I thought there were cooldowns, and someone was like, no, and I was like, I think there are cooldowns. Yeah, the cooldowns were pretty dumb, so I'm glad they removed them. I have the qualifier for a tournament, May 2nd. Oh, you're doing tournaments again. Cool, man. Increase the drop rate of splinters from all night market bosses. Yeah, they're talking about splinters here, so I think they're going to want us to grind them up. I'm glad they increased the drop rate because it was bullshit. Splinters available from the faction vendors have their favor requirements reduced. Okay. So, greatly reduced. Significant increase the drop rate of splinters on many sources. Yeah, I mean, this is really going to... This is one of those things that it is going to be a challenge. Like, I'm going to have to decide whether or not whatever grind, once we figure out what this grind is, whether or not it's worth it for the content. And I don't know what the answer is right now. Because I have told you guys that I'm just over it with grind. Like, I don't want to do something that's not fun to get to something that is fun. Like, my barrier, like you might always have to do that somewhat, right? I can appreciate that there's content that a lot of players like, but maybe I don't in particular. But my willingness to do that is pretty low at this point. I want games to be fun on their face, not fun if you spend so many X amount of hours doing things that aren't fun. So, all right, Calamitous Dune Gorger. So this is on Quest and Zone. I don't know if I'm going to go through all this questing stuff. I don't usually. He'll always die when reaching 0 health. That's good to know. Yeah, I think it's just some bug fixes for Quest and stuff like that. Frog says, totally agree. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they said they increased the drop rate. Like, I don't know what it's actually going to look like. I also don't know that they would tell us if they make it worse before it goes live. The faction favor. My issue with this, and this, this might just be a me thing, right? Like, it might not be. Nobody else might feel like this. But my issue is, like, they've introduced new factions. Why do I care? I don't. Okay. Well, now I got to pick one, and then I've got to grind up with that. Well, again, like, why do I care? I don't. It's not why I play the game. And so they're trying to make all this stuff so that the players want to play and go through and do something that I don't intrinsically want to do. And maybe that works for a lot of people. Maybe this is all the stuff that so many people, a big portion of the community wants to do. I don't care. I've never been into grinding up factions. I've told you guys about one of my friends playing WoW way back in the day. This would be old school WoW now, is what we were actually playing at the time. And he grinded up the Insane title, which was to get one faction all the way, their favor with you all the way maxed out. But it, by necessity, decreased your favor with another faction. And then you had to reverse that to get the title. And how he spent, like, I don't know, hundreds, if not more, hours doing that. And he was very happy that he got his Insane title or whatever, and it would be like his name, the Insane, which is cool. It was a cool thing, like it sounded cool, and you couldn't get that. Not everybody had that. It's not like ESO. I thought that was really cool back in the day when you would actually be like, oh, it actually took something for you to get that. Kind of like how mounts are with trifecta trials, which I don't have most of, right? I don't have any of them actually. I don't think. It's cool though. You see somebody in that mount, they did that cool thing. I think that's a really cool thing to have in MMOs. I like to see it. But I don't care about any of these factions. Most of the time, the story and questing is so trivial that I've long since like checked out of caring. It's like you go to do a quest and you light attack a guy and he's like the big bad evil guy of the quest. None of it scales. You do some of the quests like in Grotwood, like they tell you you're a defender of the green, but you don't get that title. You get to even pick the faction, the one quest by the old tree with a face on it. Super cool quest line. And it's like, why don't I get a in-game reward for this? Why don't I get a title for this? So there's so many of those things where I don't care anymore. So I'm kind of checked out on it. Maybe this will move other people, maybe even me, to try this stuff again. Character aesthetics used to tell a story. Yeah, exactly. I miss those days. Now it's you get rewards for, showing up. It's essentially participation trophies. So, I don't know. We'll have to see. A lot of this stuff really puts a bad taste in my mouth, if I'm being honest, and makes me pretty negative on it. Like the monetization, the overly complex systems that they're trying to come out with while gaslighting us and telling us they're simplifying things, but actually making it much more complex. Yeah. And then I just don't know if I care. Daedric says, internet died. I went into the trial. It looks like a massive scripted fight. 3 bosses with 66 million health, no difficulty settings. Okay. Thanks, Daedric. Dude, I appreciate that, man. Maybe we can pull it up actually. Some of this smacks of Microsoft, I think. Yeah. That's kind of how I read it. It's them like getting to industry standards or what have you. All right, we'll just pop in here, and then Daedric says I might set up a character to see how far I can get into it, but that's a lot of effort. Yeah, Daedric, I don't remember, man. How much boss does the average health have, or how much health does the average boss have? How much boss does the average health have? Come on, Daedric, give me this info. Yeah, man, I appreciate you sharing the info. No tournament night, maybe next. I forgot I have to be up around 5. Okay. Yeah. Maximum over boss. Oh yeah. God, I don't. Yeah. Let's. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna be doing this. The character, for those who don't know, it's been over a year, maybe a couple of years now. They made character creation. I'm sorry, they character creation. Yeah, they made character creation and like setting your character on PTS crazy, crazy more difficult. Yeah, you don't know. Okay. 66 million health is like veteran difficulty, but the multiple bosses honestly might be hard mode level. Okay. Yeah. So much time and effort for things that are fun for less than an hour. Yeah. Yep. All right. So we'll die pretty quickly, but we can at least see what it looks like now. Oh. Did you grind these up, Daedric? Because it's saying I need the eggs, and I don't have them. It's saying I need the. It's saying I need all the various. Open your chest on your character. Oh, okay. Which chest, Daedric? Night market relics or something. Okay, thanks, man. Night market consumables, night market collectibles, splinters. Looking for splinters. Outfit style. This doesn't look like it. Oh, night market relic splinters. Okay, there we go. Jeez. All right. So they did give it to us. Do I need to consume them now? Yep. Yeah, these bag of bags thing is a little. It's just a little bit much. It feels. I'm sure they have a reason they're doing it, but it doesn't. They don't value my time. As someone who's helping them out by coming onto the PTS to give feedback, I don't feel like my time is valued. Oh, the skull here. We got a He-Man looking skull here. I guess this is similar to what's outside of the night market. What do we get going on here? We got a glowy thing. Ah, they're up there. Burn the banners to start the fight. Okay, I thought they were going to RP for a second. Thanks, man. I was like waiting for them to finish their RP. Ah! Well, there we go. Well, I guess we'll have to see. I wasted 10 minutes trying to figure out how to get past the walls. Huh. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I guess I should turn settings to... can we... What is it? Probably be gameplay? No, nameplates maybe? Or is that all friendly? We need numbers. Is it not here? Is it in combat? Resources. Here we go. Percent and number. Okay, they do tell you that. I do hear the audio. It's pretty low, but they do say, do they not know about the banter? The banners were waiting. So I guess. All right. Well, interesting. I mean, it kind of depends on how the fight goes, but I guess we'll have to I'll have to see about that. I don't know. I don't know if I can get 11 other people that want to come check this out, but maybe if we can just walk in here and play around with it, I could probably be convinced. Now, I didn't want to schedule anything because I wasn't sure if we'd definitely be able to get in here, but yeah. Yeah, we got to see the arena at least. Yeah. I mean, probably there'll be some EU guys that'll have a video out way before I will because they have all their characters. So they just got to log on and hop on here. So hopefully we'll see something, but yep, I guess this is it. At least now we can get to it. Yeah, I'll be looking for vids. Well, cool guys. Well, I mean, I think this is what I got. I think that's all we got for today. I think now what I'm going to do is probably hop over and play some Helldivers. Is I think the plan. So appreciate everybody for hanging out and chatting, taking a look. We'll have to see. I don't know. At some point, I might have to take a step back from all this because every time I see the new monetization stuff and the stuff that feels anti-consumer, I just get a little bit more tilted. So hopefully the new trial will be cool. We'll have to check it out. Yeah, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Like I said, we're going to jump over if you want to check out some hell diving. I know that's not a lot of you guys' shtick. So if you're just dipping out, guys, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. We'll keep you updated with more ESO stuff as stuff comes out. But appreciate you guys watching. I'm going to go ahead and end this stream now, kick you over to the new one, and we'll do some hell diving. If we can get it up. Is it coming up? Helldivers! All right, guys. Appreciate everybody for tuning in.